See, what you've just heard is not an isolated incident in this country. This is part of a phenomenon called land grabbing. You see, traditional land generally is owned by common people, right? And they've lived on it for generations, right? And they may not be literate, generally poor, and they don't know the law for sure. They don't know what documentation is involved. They don't know the procedures of the court. They are, you can say, ignorant, right? Ignorant and poor. So what tends to happen is, when in the name of development, these people are pushed out of their lands so that the developers can come in and make super profits, right? As what Santok said, we are not against development, but that process of development must benefit everybody in the country, not just the developers. Doing it in this way helps the developers. Now, this is a phenomenon going on in our country. In Penang, you would have heard, several cases recently. In the last couple of years, we had the same phenomenon in Kampung Boundary. Kampung Boundary was another land grab case. Of course, the whole system is poised against the poor. So as a result of which, generally the poor lose out. Generally, right? Except when the poor get together and say, this is our right. And that is exactly what the Kampung people are doing today. And that is what we from Hindraf have come in to give them strength to do. Because one of our principal policies is to confront injustice fearlessly. And wherever we hear of injustice, we will go. We have come, right? And we are making this call loud and clear so that the authorities concerned, okay, take notice of the fact that the people of this country want a fair deal, and it is their responsibility to ensure there is a fair deal, right? Now, see here how the system works. Okay? So we have development. Every time this whole area is going to get developed, right? That is the part of the development agenda of the nation, of the state, which is fine, right? Now, and landowners come up with plans, they submit to the government, and then the government approves, and then you go ahead in accordance with the guidelines of the government. But what the developers do to get the people off from the land and get it cheap is they use the ignorance of the law of these people, of the processes involved in land ownership and transfers, and of the facts about their equity in the land. They use this ignorance to their advantage. That's one. And then they file various claims in courts, which the poor find it difficult to defend by virtue of the enormous expenses that are involved. 3, by using threats and threatening methods to put fear into the occupants of the land with some kind of harm coming to them, they get some relief, as has happened from the original 36. Now we only have 12. Some of them have gone because of these various factors. Or they spread rumors that the people should accept whatever the pittance that's given by the developer. Otherwise, even that is not forthcoming when you finally go. As it happened, in the case of Kampung Boundary, the Residents Association president is here. That's what happened. The people who stood out in front got kicked out willy-nilly with zero given by the developer, or because of intervention by the state, non-intervention by the state on the matter. And then they divide the community, the village community, so they will not be able to mount a united campaign to claim their rights. And then they use the best law firms in the town. And there are specialist law firms which specialize in kicking the poor out of their lands. Okay? And then they use politicians to placate and coax the people into accepting the offer. Politicians of all brands. I'm not saying any particular politician, politicians generally, right? The politicians for their part delay and smother the rights campaign of the occupants by seeming to act for the occupants while they are colluding with the developers in the background, right? And then, so the developers buy time, they work the courts, they tire the occupants out, and then the occupants leave, and then development starts, and super profits are made by the developers, right? Now it is time now for the governments of the state, Penang state, because we are in Penang state, and the center, because this is not just a state government issue, though land is a state government matter, but the issue is national. We need the government to tighten the laws and procedures of land administration in the country so that such land grabbing will be prevented. They should institute severe measures against land grabbers, so it acts as a serious deterrent, so they will not engage in these kinds of activities in the future. Now, as far as the state government is concerned, we feel the state government now has an obligation to these poor people. There's several good reasons. One simple good reason is this: villages, these poor people, are in the constituency of the chief minister of the state. So the chief minister is close, needs these people. These people need their member of parliament, they need their adon, and it's a symbiotic relationship. The chief minister of the state should intervene, if not for anything else, if only for the fact that it's in his constituency. And the state government, regardless of the fact that it's in this constituency, has a moral obligation to see every citizen of the state prosper. Isn't that what we elect the state governments for, the governments for, so that they will do better for us? Now we are saying, hey, you've got a moral obligation to us. We voted you in, you take care of us. Right? And then, this is another very fundamental point. Article 8 of the Federal Constitution of our country says, all persons are equal before the law and entitled to the equal protection of the law. Okay? But what we have here is not true when the developer has such huge financial resources to fall back on, and in so many ways, while these poor villagers struggle to even meet their most basic legal expenses. So everybody is equal before the law? No. So what we need is for a government led by DAP and by the Chief Minister Lim Guan Eng, who was the DAP Socialist Youth Movement leader in the past and who has come up to where he is on the shouts of social justice. He needs to see the social injustice going on now. He needs to step in and he needs to equalize for these poor villagers. Then you can say, okay, the government that we elected is equalizing so that now we are all equal before the law. If the governments don't intervene, then I'll tell you, the poor people of this kampung are not equal before the law when you compare them with the developer. So what we have here is actually part of something which is national. It is not just, sure it is their life, sure. But, this is just a microcosm of what's happening across the country. And these are all the reforms that we need in our country. These are all the changes that we need in our country. So that is Hindraf's standpoint. And, we will fight with the villagers till we see a fair conclusion to this whole episode.